Okay, so, great, this is on. Okay, I take it. Here we go. Well, good afternoon and welcome family and friends of Jeff and Linda Vandusun. Welcome Jeff's father, Peter Vandusun. A special welcome to Roy Connors, Jeff's grandfather, 98 years young. Also a big heartfelt greeting to Jeff's Uncle Ted. It was so great to meet you. And a big welcome to Aunt Joan, Linda's surviving sister, and all of the extended family members of the Vandusun and Connors family. Welcome, CJSW Radio Calgary, and all the fine citizens of Calgary, Alberta, Jeff's adopted hometown. This shirt that I proudly wear, I don't know if you can get it, is compliments of station manager Adam Camus, and Tim is also wearing a CJSW shirt as well. The slogan of the station is Interstellar Signals, and we hope to be bringing you interstellar signals today. Welcome to this very special concert and celebration of the lives of these two extraordinary people. A year ago, shortly after the car accident that claimed the lives of Jeff and Linda Vandusun, Tim Swadling and myself decided to assemble some of the best musicians we knew and offer a memorial concert to Jeff and Linda. It was such a wonderful tribute and so rewarding to organize and perform in that we decided to make it a yearly event. This year, of course, it has been particularly challenging. Thankfully, all the musicians on board today were available and willing to participate. We are 5 musicians, maskless, today, safely spaced, quite far apart from one another. We are in the sanctuary of the historic and amazing St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, Amherstburg. There are advantages to performing a concert online. As audience members, you can freely throw tomatoes at us and we won't feel it, but do take care as computer screens aren't cheap to replace. Our opening number, the Darktown Strutters Ball, was written by Shelton Brooks, who was actually born in the town we are currently in, Amherstburg, Ontario. It is always such a kick to perform the music of Shelton Brooks here. The tuba solo you heard was transcribed note for note from the recording by the Coon Sanders Original Nighthawk Orchestra, a band that Jeff adored. Next up, we have another Shelton Brooks tune, Walkin' the Dog, a great blues and ragtime tune from 1916, which was in tribute to a dance craze of the same name. Here is Walkin' the Dog.
Listen, honey, about a new dance craze. Been You all were crazy about the bunny hug. Most everybody was a tango frog. And now, and somehow, the bunny dog walk is all the town talk. In every private home, this dance is known. I called a friend of mine up on the phone, hearing on his gramophone that doggone reggaeton. Get way back and snap your fingers, get over Sally, one and all. Grab your gal and don't you linger to that slow tread round the hall, to that step that takes the solid drop, like you're sitting on a log. Real slow, that'll show the dance called walking the dog. Real slow, that'll show the dance called walking the dog.
How we doing? Good. I just got the thumbs up. There we go. Okay, it's high time I introduced our cast of characters today. Collectively, we are the Cedar Island Quintet, so named after Cedar Island, Ontario, and specifically the home of Stephen Phillips, where I and Tim and Jeff cultivated a considerable amount of our interest in 20s music, and taking center stage, the beautiful, brilliant, bodacious, stunning, scintillating, stupendous, spectacular, cute, adorable, Canada's sweetheart, yours truly, Matt Kobacki. Next, of course, we have the equally beautiful, brilliant, bodacious, stunning, scintillating, stupendous, spectacular, cute, adorable, Canada's other sweetheart, Tim Swathling on guitar. And for brevity's sake, I will simply quote the Gilligan's Island theme song and say, and the rest. No, of course, truly taking center stage, Tracy Ayton, who is all superlatives mentioned, and then some. In the rear, we have your hero and mine, Ray Manzarol, brilliantly adding all manner of saxophone sounds, from the sweet and sultry sounds of a curved soprano sax to the honkin' sounds of a baritone sax. And last but certainly not least, new to our ranks, Paul Fitzpatrick on tuba, providing the stability and the strength of the ensemble.
Yay! Oh.
We would normally want jazz cellist extraordinaire Mike Carub on board for this concert, but due to COVID and border restrictions, that was quite impossible. Our very best goes out to Mike Carub and the extended Carub family. Next up, a great tune, and so appropriate for church. Sing, you sinners.
Sweet love, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
So next up, we have a tune by a composer named Brune Campbell. He wrote a handful of ragtime pieces and was quite proud of the fact that he was the only Caucasian student of Scott Joplin. I wanted to specifically honor the most senior and one of the most amazing members of Jeff's family, Grandpa Roy Connors, 98 years young. Jeff adored Grandpa Roy. Jeff played cribbage with Grandpa, and they are both accomplished cribbage players. Jeff finally won for the very first time against Grandpa just before Jeff's passing, a feat Jeff was quite proud of. Jeff also delighted in Grandpa's stories of times past. Jeff's face lit up every time he talked about his grandpa. As soon as it is safe to do so, Tim and I are going to visit Grandpa Roy and truly make up for lost time. Grandpa is living in a senior center and is a huge hit with all of the residents. The tune today I'd like to perform is called Grandpa Stomps. And boy, does Grandpa Roy ever stomp. I actually aspire to get myself in as good a shape as Grandpa Roy, which says as much about the poor shape I'm in as the remarkable shape that Grandpa Roy is in. Here is Grandpa Stomps.
Matt Kopacki on the piano, ladies and gentlemen.
Every week, late on a Sunday night, the fine people of Calgary and its environs were treated to the Phonograph Frolic, a radio program that Jeff hosted for several years, where Jeff explored some of the most esoteric music of the first half of the 20th century, recorded on 78 RPM records. Jeff's wit and charm was infectious. On one program, he referred to himself as a man with the musical tastes of a 78-year-old man. 78, of course, being the operative word. Mr. Tim Swadling, would you like to speak to the Phonograph Frolic?
Yeah, it's a show that Jeff lovingly produced. He never liked to put himself out there. about anything, but his love for that music and this music that we're playing here today overpowered his shyness and the self-deprecating qualities of Jeff. And he did a fantastic program. And I'll share the link to the Dropbox archive of the pre-recorded shows that CJSW has uploaded to my Facebook page and Matt's page later. And hopefully we will have a blog or a Facebook page up soon about the show and archiving the show for fans, because there's fans all over the world because it was broadcast on the internet. And CJSW got a lot of emails and letters and things after Jeff passed. So back to you, Matt.
Nope.
I don't know who I'm talking to.
Jeff had a passion particularly for the music of Hartzell Strathdean Parham, otherwise known as Tiny Parham, because of Tiny's tremendous size. I was myself 480 plus pounds at one time. I am quite proud to say I am 200 pounds less today than I was at my heaviest in the 1990s. I'm already sexier than any human being should be allowed to be, and you ain't seen nothing yet. This is my own transcription arrangement of Rock Bottom by Tiny Parham. That was fun. Trust me when I say that wherever Jeff is today, he's smiling ear to ear over that one. Rock Bottom is just such a great Tiny Parham tune. Moving on, we have Guy Lombardo, who was one of the most beloved and significant Canadian musicians ever. I remember in my early teens watching New Year's Eve with Guy Lombardo. Guy lived a short distance from Jeff's house in London, Ontario. In the 1950s, the house was torn down to make way for a brewery. Jeff hoped Guy was at least given a case of beer in compensation. This is the great, should I say, a great Lombardo arrangement of Baby. Stephen Phillips is so important to the Jeff Vandusun story. 11 or so years ago, we all congregated at Stephen's house on Cedar Island, as several of us had done for so many years, but this was Jeff's first time, and it was truly life-altering for Jeff. And as we spun 78 RPM records, as God intended, on wind-up phonographs, and doubtless ate copious amounts of pizza, this lit the spark that would lead to Jeff's life's calling. This would further lead to many more listening sessions and the birth of the Cedar Island Antique Phonograph Society. We also had a house mascot, Oliver the dog. Oliver was every bit a part of the experience, and Jeff loved that dog. Sadly, Oliver is no longer with us. We want to honor Stephen today with a tune called Stupid Stephen's Stomp. which comes to us from a stock arrangement from 1927 by Mickey Guy, a 1920s band leader. My little niece is probably saying now, Uncle said a bad word. Apparently stupid has become a 4-letter word. And so here is Stupid Steve's Stomp to honor our very own Stephen Phillips. Now, we do have a couple of song composers in the house. One, namely, Tim Swadling. Tim did a pretty major movie in 1911 that is produced and directed and put together and all that. Well, major for you, I mean, you didn't sleep for 100 years over that. But anyways, what?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's true.
So anyways, one of the tunes, we had to arrange pieces that would not infringe on copyright. And so this is one of those tunes that Tim conceived of. It is called Night on the Town. And we performed this at the first concert for Jeff and Linda, and I botched it. It was the only tune of the evening that I wanted to do over. Over the next few months, I worked on it, so the next time we performed it, it wouldn't fail me. We performed it again at New Year's Eve celebration at Tracy's Theater in Windsor, and I proceeded to botch it again. This afternoon, I am going for the hat trick. It has never failed me in rehearsal, but let's see if I botch it once more in performance. The band members have a pool going.
All right. Here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
$10.
More up. Yeah. Down a little bit.
Next up, two tunes written by our very own Ray Manzarel. Ray Manzarel is quite a gifted composer of 20s-style miniatures. The titles of these two songs, I think, are especially appropriate for the year 2020. The first one is called We're Living in La La Land. And I'd say a lot of us sometimes feel this year like we're swimming in suds. So here are two songs by Ray Manzarel.
Good one, Ray. Swimming in suds.
And let's hear it for a tuba solo in that. That was just magnificent. By Paul Fitzpatrick, the one and only Paul Fitzpatrick. Okay, where are we here? We've done Night on the Town. No retrospective of Jeff's life would be complete without representing Joe Sanders. Together with Carlton Kuhn, Joe Sanders formed one of the ultimate hot dance bands, the Kuhn Sanders Original Nighthawk Orchestra. Jeff considered them to be the patron saints of his radio show. This is a solo piano piece called Southology by by Joe Sanders, performed by yours truly. I'm tripping over my tongue. I hope I play better than this.
You don't play with your tongue, do you?
Try this at home.
Whoa. No net. Kovacki on the piano. Mr. Wonderful himself. Beautiful man.
Beautiful piece. Deserves to be heard a lot. Okay, bring myself down from that. Okay. Where are we here? Yes, I wanted to mention something about Tim Swadling that would have made Jeff extremely proud. Can you imagine what that is? Tim is nearly a published author, writing and compiling what is surely to be a definitive book on the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway in Canada, a subject that Tim is one of the world's leading authorities. Absolutely. Eddie Davis was a legendary New York-based banjo player and band leader who regrettably contracted COVID-19 and passed away. For decades, he ran a band in New York that featured Woody Allen on clarinet. Tim had an email relationship with Eddie Davis, and he gave Davis a copy of the CD of Tim's movie music that Tim, myself, Ray Manzarol, and Mike Carew performed on. We believe that Woody Allen himself might have listened to our CD, at least in parts. And I'm sure given the extraordinary talents of Ray and Mike alone, he would have enjoyed it. Tim and Jeff visited New York how many times? Three times. And got to meet some of New York's finest musicians, Vince Giordano, the one and only Vince Giordano, Eddie Davis, Connell Folks, pianist, and others. We always talked about going back to New York, but it just wasn't in the cards. Anything more to say about that?
Eddie was, I occasionally emailed Eddie back and forth. He wasn't the greatest typist in the world, but he did invite me up on stage to at the Carlisle. Next time he said, he listened to the CD and said, you should come up and play. And I turned it down because I didn't think I'd be good enough to play on the same stage as him and Connell and Woody and Jerry and all those players. But kind of regret that now. But unfortunately, we lost Eddie to COVID in Manhattan earlier this year. And yeah, so I think you chose this one specifically as a double whammy tribute to Eddie and to
Jim DePogny. I'm working on that now. That'll be next. That'll be my talk. Right. Anyway, but that's great that you had that experience with Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff loved that.
And that he loved it, obviously, just absolutely loved it.
Yeah, going to see Vince Giordano at the Nighthawks when they're still at the Edison. And it was quite the experience. And Jeff treasured those visits, and he really, really wanted to go back to New York, but it just never worked out.
It was pretty hard when he was in Calgary and we were here and everything. It was, and you know,
Yeah, he was
not the easiest thing under the best of circumstances.
No.
And
Yeah,
now, I mean, it is my promise and guarantee that the Vince Giordano Nighthawks will rise and will conquer again. Absolutely.
Hear that, Vince?
Okay, in about 2002, I heard about a band in Ann Arbor, Michigan, who were recreating the music of the 1920s. My first thought was, yeah, right. I assumed such a band could only be a 20s band in name only. Sunday nights would come and go, and I would talk myself out of making the trip. Then there was a fateful Sunday when I had a rehearsal in Ann Arbor. I was in town at exactly the time Phil Ogilvy's Rhythm Kings were performing. I walked into the Firefly Tavern and couldn't believe my ears. They were playing this music with such passion and fire and authenticity. I was in heaven. In those days, I couldn't get enough. I've seen the band probably 100 times. I would become good friends with Jim DePogny, the band members, the patrons, the dancers. They all became family to me. I am privileged to have many such families. Of course, I am instantly loved, worshipped, and adored everywhere I go by everyone I meet. It truly is the great cross I bear for being me. Jim DePogny was greatly admired by Jeff Vandusun. Jeff came across a prized recording of Jim playing the music of Jelly Roll Morton. This record is currently in the possession of Tim. Jim was mentor, teacher, colleague, and friend to us all. He finally succumbed to a long battle with colon cancer. He was always elusive about how he was doing, and I once pressed him in an email. I said, "Jim, you're one of my closest and dearest friends." His response, "You should get out more." Jim did more for the great legacy of Jelly Roll Morton than anyone else. He completed a 5-year commission from the Smithsonian Institute to transcribe one of every solo piano piece that Jelly Roll Morton recorded. Here is Billy Goat Stomp by Jelly Roll Morton to honor Jim DePogny. And now it's my turn again. How about that? Jeff was a huge Marx Brothers fan, as well as comedy greats Laurel and Hardy, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, and Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. I will perform the Woodpecker song from the Marx Brothers movie Go West from 1940, as performed by Chico Marx and adapted for myself.
performed it.
Probably better than I. He used to do this. I like it better. We're not quite ladies anyway, but
Maybe next time you'll bring apples for everybody.
You want to play it
You'll bring apples for everybody.
as long as you play your instrument with it first. Use it as a mute.
if there's any piano left after that, I don't know. We were talking about doing this program, and it was running long, and we were going to cut Woodpecker song. And
Like
some,
you.
some in my congregation said, no, you can't do that.
I think that was me. Even though don't think I made church that day.
Where's his
Yeah.
congregation?
While I reassemble, I introduce Sheik of Araby.
All right.
Yeah, your chords.
Yeah, my chords. This is the Lonesome Lefty version. Your love belongs to me. At night when you're asleep, into your tent I'll whosoever gonna quietly creep. Now the stars that shine above, they're gonna light our way to love. You rule the sands with me. I'm the sheep of Araby. Said I'm the sheep of Araby. Yeah, your love, it belongs to me. Well, at night when you're sound asleep, went to your tent, whosoever gonna quietly creeping out the stars that shine above, gonna light our way to love. Yeah, gonna rule the sands with me. 'Cause I'm the sheep of Araby.
This is particularly appropriate because Jeff was a big-time Lonesome Lefty fan, Mike Houston, and we used to play this all the time, Sheik of Araby.
That's right.
So a very appropriate tune for the day. Thank you. And I simply asked Tim to do that today, so bravo, Tim.
Off the cuff, as they say.
Okay, next up we have three tunes that you might readily recognize from the 20s, great signature tunes. Ain't She Sweet? And the Gershwin Lady Be Good, and Someone to Watch Over Me.
I take what? I've never taken anything in my life.
Ain't She Sweet?
you're walking down that street. So I'm gonna ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Oh, ain't that nice? Look her over once or twice. Gonna ask you very hypothetically, ain't she sweet? She cast an eye in her direction. Oh me, oh my, ain't that perfection? Do-de-o-do, well I repeat, don't you think that's kinda neat? And I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Yeah. Oh, ain't she sweet? Walking down that street, and I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Oh, ain't that nice? Look her over once or twice, and I ask you very hypothetically, ain't she sweet? Oh, cast an eye in her direction. Oh me, oh my, tell me, ain't that perfection? Lordy, oh, do well I repeat, don't you think she's kinda neat? And I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet?
What's on me?
It was funny. Now we feature Paul.
There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone to watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who'll watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he carries the key. Won't you tell him please to put on some speed, follow my lead? Oh, how I need someone to watch over me.
It's so seldom that I get a chance to play. Well, I don't know that I've ever played with a tubist before, so there is certain literature that just lends itself to it, and certainly the ragtime literature lends itself to it. So there's a bit of a ragtime set here. Starting off with a piece called After the Cakewalk by R. Nathaniel Dett, who was Canadian-born African-American composer, very successful, extremely successful. I kind of wished he'd have written more ragtime because this is really, to me, just a terrific piece. That is a lot of fun to play, especially with a tuba. Love it. And guitar, of course. So anyway, we're following with a couple pieces by Scott Joplin, the greatest of the ragtime composers. Anytime I think of Scott Joplin, I think of a great Joplin fan in Dearborn, Michigan from my Dearborn days, Joe Adams. Hello, Joe. And so anyway, this is Solace, one of the great miniatures that Joplin wrote, just exquisite. And it was made famous by the movie The Sting, as well as other pieces. this has kind of a Mexican, or it's called a Mexican serenade, so it has the habanero rhythm throughout. It's so Joplin goes. Pretty much all through the piece. Very fascinating, and you would think that you would almost tire of this repetition, but it's just brilliant the way he uses it. It would. Several people from the 1920s would adapt that rhythm in these Latin American rhythms. But anyway, here is Solace. So to finish off this Joplin set, we have Stop Time Rag by Scott Joplin. In Stop Time Rag, Joplin fills all of the silence with a consistent tapping like a metronome, as indicated in the score. It is supposed to be from the solo pianist who is required to tap their feet onto wood. Don't have any wood at the moment, so anyway, the effect is quite hypnotic, and Tim will assume the duties of supplying this constant
Hypnotizing.
beat by tapping his guitar throughout this performance. Stop time, Rag.
Time Raggers, I call it Bloody Knuckles.
So can I have you explain the whole significance of walking in the park with Eloise?
Yeah, I guess we're going to do this as a to work some sort of Beatles reference into this show. Jeff, when I first met Jeff, he was to various types of music. He liked kind of big band music, which I noticed and was reason enough for me to become friends with him. And I got him into the Beatles, and through the Beatles I got him into Bob Dylan, and through Bob Dylan got him into like all kinds of old blues, string band music, country, jazz, that kind of thing. And then he went from there, and then he started showing me things. So anyways, he did enjoy this one, which was written by Paul McCartney's father. James McCartney, who was in a jazz band in the 20s in Great Britain, Liverpool. And he wrote this tune, and Paul McCartney joked that everyone in his family had a running thing about trying to come up with words for it, but they never did. And later on, for a Father's Day gift, he recorded this while they were recording with Wings in Nashville for the At the Speed of Sound record, and released this as a single under the name The Country Hams. It's Paul, and Chet Atkins plays on this as well on the record. Floyd Kramer as well, yeah. And yeah, and so he gave that to his dad for a Father's Day gift in 1976. And I did a Paul McCartney tribute show on Facebook back in May for his birthday, or June, sorry. May was Bob Dylan's birthday. I asked Matt, I'm like, maybe we should figure the song out. And Matt liked it, did it for Father's Day here at the church. And now it's in our show. So here it is, The Country Hams.
Walking in the park with metal wings. So we come to the closing moments of this concert. A friend of mine, writing about our deceased loved ones, wrote, "The only thing for us is to be more like them in our own lives. We cannot ask them to come back. We can, however, invite them to live through us. Think of the person you are now. because of Jeff and Linda Vandusun. That is their gift to all of us. This is a short paragraph written by Henry Van Dyke called Time, also known as For Katrina's Sundial. Time is too slow for those who wait, too swift for those who fear, too long for those who grieve, too short for those who rejoice. But for those who love, time is eternal. And for those of us that loved Jeff and Linda Vandusun, love truly is eternal. I wish to thank this wonderful church, St. Andrew's Presbyterian in Amherstburg, for allowing us to host this concert. Our wonderful musicians, Tracy Ayton, soprano, Ray Manzarol, saxophones, Paul Fitzpatrick, tuba, Tim Swadling, guitar, yours truly, Matthew Klobacki, piano.
Hey!
Our sound man, still with us, are two of you. Spencer, actually three of you, what am I saying? Okay, I'll thank you all. Our sound and video men, Spencer Hawkins, Terry Risdale, Jim Vance, and John McDonald.
Hey, thank you!
This whole system is brand new to the church, and these guys have been working on figuring this out for a long time. So bravo to them, and thank you ever so much. And a special acknowledgement and thanks to all of you who loved and supported and nurtured Jeff and Linda Vandusun, and who continue to support and comfort each other. We conclude this concert with Tim singing Maybe You'll Be There, written in 1947, followed by I'll See You in My Dreams, written by band leader Isham Jones. Till we meet again, hopefully in person and hopefully sooner than later.
Each time I see a crowd of people, just like a fool, I stop and stare. It's really not the proper thing to do. Maybe you'll be there. I go out walking after midnight along the lonely thoroughfare. It's really not the time or place to look for you. Maybe you'll be there. Someday if all my prayers are answered, I hear a footstep on the stairs. With anxious heart, I hurry to the door. And maybe you'll be there. Thank you, Matt, for putting this together and putting in all the long hours and honoring our friend. I appreciate it.